Hey everybody, it's me, the Einstein of Wall Street from the balcony here at the New York Stock Exchange. Today is the beginning of the rest of your life. I brought you food, finance, fun, all kinds of stuff, but we're here on the floor. Trading is my thing. This is where the secret sauce happened at Trade Like Einstein with Nicole Lappin and Money News Network. Today I'm bringing you somebody who is actually really dear to my heart. I've met him, I've known him for about 20 minutes, but I already feel this really special feeling about him. Apparently, I inspired him at a young age. He's been following me for a long time. He is 24 years old. He started following me at the age of 12. He ended up getting an internship thanks to one of his buddies here on the floor on Wall Street. Back in the day, there were a bunch of prop firms and stuff. I mean, it's not that many years ago. I guess it's 8 years ago now. And he got a summer internship there, learning how to trade or whatever. He was already on Wall Street. He got that feeling, right? You'll know if you've ever been down here in FIDI, the atmosphere around here with George Washington. You all know I went to high school with Alexander Hamilton. I've been here. He's buried across the street. I'm still down here bringing you the love and the inspiration and the motivation that goes on Wall Street, that feeling that trading, there is no better feeling. Making money on Wall Street, trading stocks and equities and options is the greatest feeling in the world. And I must admit, losing money is probably the most sickening, nauseating feeling in your life. When people start averaging into trades, you guys know I run an academy called Wall Street Global Trading Academy. I teach people the secret sauce around trading to be successful, but we know the mistakes people make are devastating, and 8 out of 10 people who try day trading do not succeed. Millions, 40 million came in around COVID time into this world, right? The democratization of the trading community, Robinhood, Webull, all that stuff. Suddenly the barriers to entry were down. Everybody with an iPhone and $100 suddenly became a trader. The meme phenomenon, look, and everybody was posting pictures of like lying on top of a Bugatti with $10,000 in cash, telling everyone they made a shitload of money trading GameStop. Fact is, 8 out of 10 of them lost money. Anyway, my friend Nour here, who has now become a major power player within the day trading space, inspired by me at 12, summer internship at 16. Now I'm gonna let him tell his story. Nobody tells it better. Give us a little bit about you, baby.
So, like you said, he nailed it on the dot. I've been following him since I was like 12 years old. He's literally the face of Wall Street. I've always been interested, and when I got that opportunity to intern on Wall Street, it was like a dream come true. And the crazy thing is, I used to pass this every single day, and I used to think to myself, how does this look from the inside? And I finally get the day with the man himself, and you know, I get to actually experience it, and it's like no other experience. Like what you see online versus what it is in person is completely different. And you know, the ride for the last 8 years, it was definitely worth it to get to here.
Cool. So the feeling to be in this building, as not that many people have actually been allowed in the building, it is it's awestruck in so many ways. As I said, I've been coming here for 137 years. My son works with me, he's my partner, and still every day, no matter what I'm going through, I show up here. This is my office. The ceiling's made of gold. There's 120 years of experience and celebrity and IPOs and companies going public down here. The adrenaline, the feeling, what that goes on in here is unmatched. So, you started trading. Give us a little bit about the backgrounds of how this whole thing started. So, first of all, I'm honored that you're here. I'm honored that I was your inspiration. That for me, that's the end all be all, right? Because I found something I love to do. For me, trading the market is like being in the Super Bowl every day. So to have found somebody like you who I was able to inspire, who I helped in any way to meander their journey to this place, to be able to invite you and host you here, and now to hear your story about how you've done this is really great.
I appreciate
it.
Thank you.
So share it with us.
So yeah, at 16 I got that internship, and I decided to take it on my own, and I started trading from home. It originally started with shares. I originally deposited $23,000 into my account. You know, kept playing back and forth. Obviously, it was an up and down thing, and I didn't really know what I was doing. It's more of like a hands-on thing where I was just understanding as the day goes on, like how do stocks move, why do stocks go up, all the news that affect it. And then one day, I finally, played an option, which I didn't know anything about, and threw my whole account into it, and I had no idea that it could go to zero in an option. And I played in earnings, so that was like the worst of worst. And
that is the worst of worst. Sorry to interrupt you. Just so you know, equities always have inherent value. You can buy them, they can go down, and you may lose money. With options, You can actually invest in an option, it can expire, and it can end up worth being zero. Go for it.
Yeah, and luckily I did make money. I played earnings.
On that one, what stock was it?
Micron Technology.
Okay,
it's
MU.
like my favorite stock to day trade. And when I woke up, or when I saw, because your account doesn't update after market with your options, so when I woke up in the morning, my account went from like 24,000 to like 83,000 overnight.
No, oh my God.
It was pretty sick.
So you hit it on the head.
But I had to do research because I didn't understand why my account did that.
Right.
So I didn't understand it, and then I understood finally that, okay, options is far more risky, and so I went back to shares for a while and I started trading things.
Did you sell the position that next day?
Yeah, correct.
So you realized the gain of the 83,000.
Yeah.
So suddenly your account was flush, it was beautiful, and you must have just loved it.
And
did you go out and buy a car, or did you say, no, I'm going to hang out here for a minute?
I bought some clothes.
You did buy some clothes. Okay, that's good.
But
and those are the clothes he's wearing here today. No, not really. Go ahead.
Still fits. But yeah, I went back to shares because I understood the value of what equity
trading equities versus options. Okay.
Correct. And I went back to that, and I had enough capital in my account now to actually make some real and bigger moves.
Right.
So I started growing the account slowly in $100 days, $200 days with equities, losing $200. It was a back and forth thing until I started doing more research. It was very hard back then because Google.
What year was this?
2016.
Okay.
So it just wasn't enough resources online to actually learn something like that. So I just had to learn. So over like a 6-month period, I finally grew my account to like around like 200,000.
So you really started from scratch. You didn't really understand what trading meant, what buying and selling a share was. And back in 2016, even though day trading has been going on for a while, right? All the resources that we have here today with all the courses and whatnot wasn't around back then. So you were trying to trading blind in a way. But you kept going. I mean, I like the hunger. I like the fact that you kept digging.
So when I got to that number, that 200, I got stuck in Netflix shares.
You ended up getting up to $200,000. That was your goal. Was that a goal or?
No, it wasn't a goal.
Oh,
it was just a back and forth.
It was a dream.
Yeah.
Really.
And I got stuck in like Netflix shares because I believe I held through earnings, but it was equities this time. So the last thing I thought about it, if I ever take a loss, I can just get out of this.
Stock. Correct.
It won't go to zero.
Right.
But I ended up holding the stock because I said, my dad always tells me stocks will come back, and I ended up holding for about 3 months.
And what happened?
It ended up coming back.
It did come back.
But instead of holding, it was an emotional thing. As soon as I got to like break even, basically slightly green, I just got out that trade.
Okay.
But after I got out, you just saw Netflix rally for another month. And but yeah, that was the start, and it's been 8 years since.
Okay, so a couple of policies, a couple of strategies that we do. Shoulda, woulda, coulda is not a strategy.
Exactly.
Hope is not a strategy. Listening to Uncle Herbie on the internet is not a strategy. I mean, these are key things to successful day trading. At the end of the day, if you're trading equities, yes, it does have an inherent value, but you can never look back. Nobody got broke taking a profit. Going from 23,000 to 83,000 to 200,000 is a huge achievement. Obviously, he's learned a lot because there are certain rules. Look, we've never met before, and there are a lot of things I can't wait to teach him about day trading. He probably knows a lot more than I do in so many ways, but he ended up holding a position. Holding a position through earnings can be a really dangerous thing. 2016 is different than today. We're seeing people trading earnings now where you can literally be lucky for $2 or $3 or wrong for 50. So it is dangerous turf, but it is, look, strategies for day trading, risk management, money management, technical analysis are really the keys. I don't even know how this guy trades and what his strategy is, but we're gonna learn more about that. Okay, so where are we now?
So, I mean, we're 8 years later now, and my trading is literally strictly day trading now. Just in and out during the day, and if I take a loss, I'm out that trade. I don't need to hold. I don't tell myself, okay, well, what if this comes back anymore? So sorry to interrupt you, but I sort of jumped a little bit. So what were your biggest, so after the 200 grand, you ended up holding the Netflix, because it's a great story, I want to know the details. Okay.
So you maintained your balance. You ended up, after that Netflix story, you kind of got upset because the fact that the stock rallied really huge.
Yeah, I didn't think
and you have to realize too, that was a big time where a bunch of guys, Ackman was trading the stock. I mean, there were a bunch of big players in Netflix then, and also there was some crazy earnings move on that one, right? Because the company was starting to grow big time. And there were some $100, $200 days in that stock back then, right? That was pre-split, right? So it was trading at $1,000 at that point. Where was it?
There.
So think about those. Those are the big, fabulous 7. We've got, right, the FANG stocks, right, the Facebook, the Netflix, Amazon. Those are big, big names. Back then in 2016, I don't even think there was fractional investing yet, which is something that's available now. Back in the day, when the stocks were trading in the thousands, and a lot of those stocks made major moves, if you didn't have $1,000, you couldn't buy a share of that. Now, with fractional investing, you can have a money order, meaning I can actually buy $100 of Amazon, of Facebook, of Netflix, even though it may be trading in the hundreds. So anyway, so go on with the story. We're done with the Netflix trade. What's the trajectory from there?
So, I mean, from there, I decided to give up the whole, like, swinging for that long. So if it doesn't work out in my favor, just walk away with that L. And that loser, and just come back and look for the next possible trade that I can take. And
did you take any courses?
No, because at that time I was looking for something to take,
there wasn't
and there
anything
just wasn't
available.
anything.
Okay.
And I was trying to watch YouTube videos, and the way they explained the options back then on YouTube, it was like rocket science. So even when I watched it, one contract's 100 shares, and back then the way they explained it, it's like you were obligated to buy those shares. I just didn't understand it back then. So
I still don't understand options, trust me. And I've been doing this for a long time. When I took the Series 7, the reason I failed it 3 times was because of options. I just couldn't, it didn't make sense to me. And I work for a firm that's the largest option firm on the floor. It's, for some reason, it just doesn't click in my head. I could trade millions of shares of equities all day long, and you give me an option, my brain freezes. All right, so go ahead.
So yeah, I was looking for a course to learn or anything like that, and obviously the resources were very limited. So the only way I would dibble and dabble 1 contract, 2 contracts, 3 contracts, understanding what theta was, understanding how contracts move, but how much money can I make from contracts, how much can I actually lose, and the process of that took like a full year to actually understand options, to actually be able to actually trade them, and understand the risk behind them. And then I was going back and forth between shares and options, whatever gave me the opportunity. But yeah, after the Netflix trade, I ended up taking more of day trading, and if I did swing something, it would only be like a day, right? So that I can just either walk away from the trade or come back from it. But my next big trade was Shopify. Shopify, the way
when it went public, the direct listing.
That was.
Were you in on that one?
And the way that stock used to move, it was insane. Even pre-split, like even up to that pre-split, when it got up to $1,700, Shopify was the move for the last 5-6 years.
So think about this. So companies go public down here on the floor of the exchange. The process of going public, look, Apple started in somebody's garage. They came up with a product. They came up with a story. At the end of the day, they had everything. They were firing on every piston. They decided to go to the public to raise capital to make the company a big company. They ended up coming down to Wall Street. Unfortunately, they're listed on NASDAQ. But anyway, Shopify was the first company. The markets are always looking for new ways for companies to go public. It's not an easy process. You have to have major $250 million plus valuations. You've got to go on a roadshow. All the technology and everything you need, the accounting and whatnot, is really difficult to go public. And one of the things I do specialize in is IPOs. And we've seen, look at WeWork. And just to bring up another, look, WeWork was a company that was the flavor of the moment. Everybody loved it. It was one of the biggest valuations ever. Everybody wanted in. $50 billion plus. SoftBank invested in that guy, Mr. Goodman, who had this story. It was a genius idea of taking real estate and basically making it public where people could go work together. The idea was genius. It turned out it wasn't until the night that they were about to go public that it turned out that the whole company was smoke and mirrors. Mr. Goodman was spending all his cash on hookers and blow, and the company had no valuation at all. They never ended up going public. They finally went public years later, and they've been bankrupt 2 times since. Deviation for a moment. Shopify was the first company to go public using the direct listing procedure. And it was sort of super exciting. What does that mean? They didn't have to go through the whole roadshow the way other companies did. They came down to the floor. It was basically a supply and demand thing. They picked the price that they were going to go public at, and then all the order flow came in. It was wild. I was here during the IPO, and there were $100 swings on the day it was actually going to go public. Did you buy it on the IPO?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, what price? Do you remember?
Not exactly.
145, what was it?
No, it was definitely around that. I think it was around the 150 area.
Yeah.
And
what'd you do with it? Tell me about the trade.
That was my first IPO, so that was another risk I didn't study on. So the swings back and forth was just absolutely insane. So I ended up, after getting out of Shopify, I understood now, okay, what is an IPO?
Right.
And, how do I, protect myself during IPO days?
Right. Did you net make money on that deal?
Yeah, I did,
okay,
luckily,
you did.
But
I remember, I mean, that was a crazy day.
Yeah, it was.
And if you did not have the experience, I'm
It
sure
was
you were
scary,
hitting
yeah.
buttons
No, it
like
was scary.
crazy. Were you in your pajamas?
Yeah. I was.
Okay, good.
But yeah, that was a scary day. That was my first IPO day, and obviously, like I said, everything is like a hands-on experience. As it comes, you learn, and that was how I was learning from the trading experience. And that was my second big trade. And then after that, after that, I learned the value of starting to invest into things. So every month, I would take out 10 to 15% of whatever I made or whatever I had at the time, and put it towards long-term, long-term portfolio.
Look, I'm so impressed. Look, the journey of learning how to trade as a young person is amazing. I didn't do it as a youngster. I came down here when I was 27 years old, and I was not trading or investing for myself. It was the job I had. And so to hear your story and your journey, how you went through each of these things, these are the things, these are assets for you that you've learned that are amazing. Your first big trade, your first loss, right? Your first big winner, the first IPO, and all that stuff. It's extraordinary to learn it, boots on the ground. Just so you know, Shopify actually went public, right? You're like 20 feet from where it went public, and it was wild. There were hundreds of people there trading. All right, so what's our next thing? So then you started investing. So think about it. Trading and investing are two completely different things.
Correct.
May I suggest, and I'm not allowed to advise anybody on anything, but at the end of the day, one of my biggest premises as a teacher and educator is for young people to invest in stocks and not stuff, right? At the age of 18, if you put $250 a month into the you can bleep that one, Matt, okay? By the age of 60, you're gonna have $1.8 million. Investing in your future as a young person is incredibly important. That's what everybody should be doing. Put aside $5, $10, $50 a month, a week, whatever you can do. Markets, look, we are the greatest consumer generation of all time, and I'm considering ourselves almost the same age. I'm a couple years older than you. But at the end of the day, we love buying stuff. We've got closets full of stuff. Millions of sneakers, iPhone, right? I try and tell young people when they ask me what I should invest in, I said, look, if your iPhone 12 isn't broken, don't buy the 13, go buy yourself one share of Apple. Investing in your future, buying things that have the capacity to go up in value after you purchase them is an important thing. Everybody should be walking around, not with a bunch of bling that they spent a bunch of money on, but showing people on their phone that their portfolio, that they've put money to work as a young person, so that at the age of 40, 50, and 60, they've got a bunch of disposable income that's going to change their life. That's the journey. So investing versus trading. But so you put some money aside, which is so disciplined. I mean, I'm super impressed with that, because a lot of people would be taking that money and going and buying yourself a bunch of stuff, right? You didn't do that. You started trading, and then you came up with the idea to invest in your future. So you were putting, look, this is the great case scenario of the way things should really be done. So you're blowing me away. It's great. All right, so you invest 10 to 15% of like your monthly earnings in the market.
Because I thought about it, and I was getting a little scared because I didn't know how long this could last of making money.
Right.
Because it's just something new, so I'm looking at it like I'm making money from a computer. How long is this
going to just blow up in my face?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So I was like, all right, let me be safe just in case anything ever goes wrong and I end up losing, a lot, and I have something to kind of lean back on and, start something else or even come back into this. So
how'd you pick the stocks you invested in?
My dad.
Okay.
Yeah, he was helping me at the time. It was Apple that he really believed in, so I was buying Apple. I was buying the safest things that I could, like Microsoft at the time.
Right.
The most, or the thing that was like the most dangerous in my portfolio after a while was Tesla. Okay. And those were the crazy swings back and forth. Someone's shorting it. It was always something new with that stock. So I ended up taking a loss on that for my long-term portfolio. I just couldn't stand seeing.
You couldn't handle all that unknown.
I have the safest stocks, and then I have Tesla.
But unknown. Yeah, exactly. You did not know when you woke up in the morning if it was up 100 or down 100, right? Which is really disconcerting as a younger person, for sure. Anybody, there's still people out there who are Tesla's driving them crazy. Over the last couple of weeks, the stock has actually been in the shitter.
Yeah.
Nobody knows why. They can't figure out, is it crazy man Elon or what's going on with it? All right, so go. I'm loving this story. It's spectacular.
Yeah, so I ended up walking away from that. I took about like a $23,000 loss on Tesla.
All
just
right.
because like it didn't make sense. Like I would be day trading and I'll be up and down.
Right.
I don't want to look at my long-term portfolio and be down as well just because of one stock. So
Right.
I got rid of that. And I ended up only holding like Apple, Microsoft. I believe there was one more at the time. I just don't remember specifically. But I mean, over time, it just carried on into different stocks, being more diversified.
Right.
I wasn't the type to have like more than like 7 stocks in the
your
portfolio.
long-term investing account.
And I know like the right thing is to have things in different industries.
Right.
But for me,
diversification, but that's another
Exactly.
story altogether.
It was
so
more of,
then,
like,
how much
tech.
were you then? Were you day trading through this period too?
Yeah.
Excuse
So
me.
I would keep around 50K in the account, and
Right.
every month, you know, whether it's down or so if it was under 50K, let's just say I had a flat or red month, I would just leave it at that. But if it was anything above 50, I would take that money and put it into the long-term portfolio.
Right.
I wouldn't necessarily invest it. I would just at least put the money there, and then use like 10 to 15% to invest into the long-term stuff. And I had around like 7 stocks at one point, and it was like around 120, 150. And then I learned about the margin where I can use 4 times my money. So that took time to learn too.
Right, yeah.
And I started using margin.
You know, you should have just called me. I could have told. I
Probably.
could have
Yeah,
saved
yeah,
you
yeah.
all this trouble. It's
Definitely.
okay. But now we're meeting today, so it's all good.
Yeah, I wish I could go back. But yeah, it started like that, and then I started learning about margin, and it was just always something new to like develop as a skill or
Yep.
even learn in the market.
Yep.
And at the time, I was just watching every CNBC news that would come out. And,
Yep.
And that's just how
you
I
may
was
have
learning.
actually seen me on TV there once or
100%,
twice.
all the time.
That's that guy,
Yeah.
right?
And just by the way people talk here and understanding the communication, that just helped me start understanding different things, the way you guys talk or talking about different things. Okay, let me search this up. And that's how I was doing research, and that's how I was learning since I couldn't find a course to help me.
Right.
And yeah, that was that when it came.
So where are we today? That is an extraordinary journey. The fact that you literally, you'd come up against a wall, you'd come up against a challenge and some headwinds, and you would just forge your way through it. You would do everything you needed to do to learn. But also there was some sense of discipline in you, which will probably carry you through going forward, because you at no point were trading like a cowboy and Indian, right?
No,
you were not
yeah.
approaching it from that way, which is not common, because most people who came along, who started trading around COVID, they were flinging money around, they were losing money, they weren't telling anybody about it, they weren't doing their due diligence or trying to learn the way you did. So for that, I think everybody should really look up to you and check you out and follow this guy for sure. He's definitely on the trajectory to great stuff. So anyway, where are we today? So that brings us up to the last couple of years. Tell me about the community you've built. Tell me about your trading for now.
Well, the community started in 2018. Like I said, one of my friends said, why don't you come online and make a course?
Right.
And like I said, there was no courses online, so I didn't know how to
Streaming
approach it.
from his basement, thanks to this guy back here.
So we just started, like a lot of our friends were asking how to invest, and we just like, okay, let's just, like every week, we'll just like teach people in our basement.
Right.
And we started teaching people and just talking about it. And it wasn't more of like telling them what to do. It was more of like, all right, how do you buy a share?
Right.
What does buying a share mean? And all that good stuff. And then we ended up creating a Discord community because we were like, if I have to wake up in the morning to trade anyways, why don't we just live stream it?
Right.
And I just started live streaming, and over time it just grew from people talking to other people, and
Right.
yo, you should come check this out. Even if you don't trade, just come listen, see what's going on in the market. And then my biggest year was COVID, actually, only because the long-term side of things, where I didn't have any long-term, I had just got rid of everything.
Right.
So as I was day trading was actually struggling for me, or it was a struggle during COVID, especially the beginning, because all the moves were happening overnight.
Yeah.
And by the time the morning came, it was flat.
Right.
So it was at a time, it was just getting me, pissed
Frustrated.
off.
Yeah,
There's nothing I could do. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And I would just be sitting there on my hands, and there's just nothing that I could do. And if I did take a trade, I would just have to have a quick stop loss or something like that. But over time in COVID, I followed Bill Ackman. And I saw
one of the great hedge fund managers of all time, one of the brightest guys in the business.
Yeah, and I was just listening to him, and he was one of the first people to call the COVID, because his dad got sick.
Yeah.
And
well, he was also somebody who went on CNBC
Correct.
and talked the market into a circuit breaker. Let's be clear, if you remember that. He was on TV. He's a bit of a conspiracy theorist.
Was that the
wonderful
day he cried?
guy. That was the day he cried.
Yeah.
And he actually talked. I was standing right behind them. They were on CNBC here on the floor, and he was talking about his fear of the market and the fear of the end of the world. And the market started to cave in, and we were dipping towards circuit breaker, and he started rapping and talking and crying, and boom, the market ended up shutting down over it.
Yeah, I remember that day specifically.
It was a great day.
Yeah, it was crazy. And just towards, in COVID, I just started buying slowly. I didn't catch things like Zoom. That was one of the biggest things I could have caught, and I completely forgot about that. I did end up getting Netflix. I ended up buying Tesla. Tesla was the biggest thing for me during COVID. NVIDIA was also a big thing for me. And I just kept dibbling and dabbling during COVID until it was a pretty decent position, and I was using margin at the time as well. And that was my biggest year as a trader during COVID.
That's amazing. So let's think for a minute, guys. During COVID, obviously everybody knows what happened. And look, I ended up getting COVID March 15th. I almost died. I've had a really rough run since then. I ended up getting long COVID, meningitis. It's been hell. But from a market perspective, what ended up happening? For the first time in history, the world came to a screeching halt like we've never seen before. Everybody from Kathmandu to Antarctica was basically shut down. Their lives, their business, their families, whatever it was, people were dying in the streets all over the world. It was significant. From a market point of view, if you think about it, why we ended up crashing on March 23rd, 2020, obviously with COVID and the world coming to a screeching end, no one was getting on planes, in cars, planes, trains, and automobiles were shut down. No one was shopping, no one was eating, nobody was doing anything. So all the companies that are public companies here that are part of our daily consumer intake were done. They were over. It was finished, right? We had not figured out that we were going to put $3 trillion into the market over the next couple of months, which ended up saving the world's economies. But what ended up happening was all the stocks that were involved in this world shutting down went down 40, 50, 60%. However, some people who were smart enough, obviously this guy was one of them, there were companies that were public companies that became the bread and butter of our lives. First of all, a delivery service for food, DoorDash, went screeching up. Everybody who needed to have a business appointment but couldn't do it in person went on Zoom. Zoom went from 30 to 400. A lot of companies like that. Peloton went from 15 to 170. Suddenly our lives became really small. We were ordering food in. We were getting on our Pelotons. We were having business meetings on Zoom, right? And we were watching Netflix. That was about all our lives were about. Right? I mean, and then we ended up in the hospital, and then a bunch of people ended up dying. So that was our world. It became small. But those stocks went, and Moderna, obviously the stocks that made the vaccine and that were involved in treating COVID. Those companies, and it was literally not more than a handful, literally went up 700%. Right? So if you got out of those, I was talking to a couple of hedge fund guys who actually pivoted out of all the names, like all the airline companies and all the stocks that were going to take a hit by the world shutting down, and actually pivoted into a lot of the names that were our lives. Literally, food delivery, Zoom, Peloton, and Netflix. That was it. And if you were in those names and smart enough to pivot into those, you made a bunch of money. However, you needed to know when to get out of those, because a lot of them ended up going down 80% and in fact going bankrupt, right? Yeah. So you got in, you got out, you made a bunch of money, and where are we now?
We're just back to day trading again.
Okay, so you're day trading, you ended up, you have a Discord, you have a community. How are you making money now besides day? So you obviously took everything you've learned by fire, which is really amazing, right? So we often learn more from failures than successes. You ended up getting challenges, but you went through them. And so you've literally checked off all the lists of all the possible things. You never made major mistakes. You've learned in a really good, aggressive way. You're building a building, which is your life as a trader. So you're finding yourself in a great spot. You got a bunch of nice friends who followed you here from Miami. So where are you now in this community? You're amazing. You've got a huge following on social media, which is amazing. You already pivoted to trying to teach and help other people to trade, which as a younger guy, which is amazing. It wasn't me until my 50s that I ended up doing that, which is great. You found something you love to do. You knew you wanted to share that information. You knew that it was possible, if you knew the rules, to make money doing it, and you weren't sort of really selfish sitting at home and not telling telling anybody about it, you started doing that. So are you teaching? Are you still streaming? Are you Discording? What's going on?
So I still live stream every single day.
You
in the
do?
Morning. Yeah.
Your morning trades.
Yeah,
And where'd you find the community? They just sort of organically came together? How many people are on there with you every day?
Like about 10,000.
Every morning, watching you trade the opening bell. That is crazy.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, and do they pay for this Discord?
So yeah, we offer it for free now, twice a week.
You know what? So look, you're 24 years old. You're really checking off all the positive boxes. It's amazing. Right. You've developed a skill, which is day trading. You've actually been smart enough to know that investing on the long term, because you don't know when this will end. I don't think it's going to end for you for a long time, but investing in other businesses, you're in real estate and stuff like that. You've got your community online every day. Look, you're a rock star, man. I mean, seriously, look, I've been doing this for 100 years, and I've navigated my journey to try and find a way where there's something I love, there's something I'm good at, right? And I love sharing it with people. Yeah. I don't need to be the guy who dies with the most toys. I love the fact that if I can empower and share what I know and help other people be successful at this, that's the good feeling. Meeting you and knowing that this journey, I had something to do with that, makes me so friggin' happy. And the fact that on a daily basis, you've got thousands of people who you are sharing your knowledge and these assets that you've grown is unbelievable. Because look, 24-year-olds who made a shitload of money tend to be people who, and I'm not making a generalization, but just tend to be a little more selfish, buying themselves a bunch of bling and stuff and not really doing what you've done. So, I mean, you're beyond impressive to me. And that's super exciting. What's your vision for the future?
I mean, I'm starting a company currently. We're working on it, and you know, later on we're looking to sell it. It's something that we're looking to sell.
What industry is it? What sector is it in?
It's,
if you may say.
The sports gambling industry. The sports app.
Okay.
It's just very untapped in a lot of states, and there's a lot of rules and regulations behind that. And actually, we're launching February 1st. It's going to be the first sports betting app allowed in all 50 states.
Really? Spectacular. You maybe should give Dave Portnoy a call and tell him not to buy so much Spirit Airlines, up 20% from where it was, right? Yeah, he could use your advice. For a guy who's made a lot of money and is probably really smart, I think he should stay away from day trading, or give you a phone call.
You saw those days?
Of course I did. Yeah. So I've seen it all. Right, of course.
Big days.
Well, that's unbelievable. That's exciting. I'm really proud of you and happy for you.
I'm happy to be here.
So guys, look, the day trading world is really difficult. Okay, there's nothing easy about this. I have Wall Street Global Trading Academy. I also, 40 years later than he did it, but I've taken it upon myself. I feel a responsibility, having been here for a long time and knowing a lot about it, to try and impart the knowledge I have with my partner, David Green, who is the teacher. I'm kind of the motivator in chief. But the fact that at such a young age, you've taken it upon yourself to learn the game, to get the playbook, to write the memo, to share it with all the community out there. The psychology of day trading is a powerful thing. 8 out of 10 people who try to day trade do not succeed. The mistakes that unsuccessful traders make are all the same. The discipline that successful traders do are also all the same. So these are things that are not easy to learn. This gentleman did not have the assets that are available now, whether you go to him, whether you go to me. There is an incredible community out there, whether it's on Discord, whether it's all different things, whether it's courses, whether it's him or me or us together, because I'm sure after this, we're hopefully going to do some fun collaborative stuff. Day trading is an amazing skill, whether you take the information you get from learning from Nour and taking it to a job interview, taking it to college, taking it to your first job or whatever it may be. This is a skill and an asset and a discipline. The discipline and consistency that you learn by being a successful day trader will take you so far in relationships, in business, in trading, and in making money. I guarantee you that. So look, I am honored to have met you. I'm so thrilled. I hope we can do some really fun things together. Look, I'm deeply honored. And to have you here on the floor, to really honor you and to host you here is a thrill for me, man. I love it.
Appreciate
Boom.
you.
Awesome. Trade like Einstein here from the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. Nicole Lappin, Money News Network, we're here. This young man is killing it. This is the beginning of the rest of his life. Follow him, check him out. We haven't even seen a half of it. Let's go. And that's all I got to say about that.